Can one of the top players in a particular sport also be overrated? Can a player that puts up great stats be negatively affecting his team in other aspects of the game? Are some statistics misleading when you study the film? And does TJ Watt fall into this category? You probably have your mind made up, but this video is designed to have you at least question things. Let's start with a little background on Watt and go from there. Trent Jordan Watt, otherwise known as TJ Watt, was born October 11, 1994. He attended college at Wisconsin. During his junior and final year, in 14 games, he collected 38 solo tackles and 11.5 sacks. TJ's brother, Justin James Watt, JJ Watt, who's 5 years older than TJ, made a name for himself during the 2010s with the Houston Texans, collecting 69 sacks in a 4-year span between 2012 and 2015, and 114.5 sacks in his career. He was Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. In the 2017 draft, Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers selected TJ Watt 30th overall. Other notable players taken before Watt: Myles Garrett, his nemesis, the number 1 overall pick by the Cleveland Browns. Mitch Trubisky, the eventual worst Steelers quarterback of all time, was selected number 2 overall by the Chicago Bears. The Kansas City Chiefs selected the now 3-time Super Bowl champion and 2-time league MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson was selected 12th overall by the Houston Texans. Watson turned out to be more like Robert Kraft than Warren Moon. But back to the subject at hand, TJ Watt and him being overrated. According to Mel Kiper, following the 2017 30th overall selection by the Steelers, Mel gave his assessment of the selection. Mel Kiper claimed TJ Watt wouldn't have been a first-round selection without his brother JJ. Watt stands 6 foot 4 inches and 250 pounds. According to Kiper, was undersized. Kiper went on to say offensive linemen would manhandle Watt. 7 years later, and the Steelers fans as well as the national media think Mel Kiper was a fool, as well as most of the other 29 teams who picked before the Steelers. After all, Watt is a 6-time Pro Bowl selection, in 2019 third in MVP voting, in 2020 and 2023 he was second in Defensive Player of the Year voting, and in 2021, with 22.5 sacks, tying Michael Strahan for the most sacks in the NFL season, Watt was Defensive Player of the Year. During training camp and preseason, TJ Watt didn't honor his contract and held the Steelers hostage with a hold-in, wanting a new contract, even though he had an existing one. Watt showed up to all the practices, but elected not to participate, until the Steelers gave him an unheard of $80 million guaranteed, $112 million 4-year contract, making him quarterback type of money at $28+ million a year. It was at that point I started looking into Watt's play more closely. Was he worth the $28 million a year? With the money athletes make today, many are playing for themselves, or should I say their brands, rather than the betterment of the team. Many players are now playing for the name on the back of the jersey rather than the name on the front. TJ Watt has played 7 seasons to collect stats. These stats specifically have equaled exactly 0 playoff wins. So let's now break down into exactly what Watt does on each play and why one man's opinion is that Watt is the most overrated player in the NFL. Watt was to be a disruptor from multiple areas of the field. However, Watt only plays on the left side of the defense. Occasionally, late in the second quarters, he'll move over to the right side when he's getting no pressure from the left. It turns out he is useless from the right. Watt, for the most part, has one move. That move is to rush upfield off the right shoulder of either tackle or tight end. Watt typically rushes upfield 8 to 10 yards, then attempts to work his way back to the quarterback and attempt to acquire sacks. Watt rarely uses an inside move, which I believe he doesn't have because of the lack of his size, strength, and speed with that move. This has made Watt a one-trick pony, and because of that, extremely predictable. Playing this way has gotten Watt 96.5 sacks in just 7 seasons. However, this gives a quarterback a huge area to work with, so outside of the time or two a game that Watt actually gets to the quarterback, he's leaving a huge hole in the defense, especially in the run game, and that's what I'd like to dive into. For example, December 16, 2023, a Week 15 matchup at the Indianapolis Colts, a game where the Colts dominated the Steelers, a game where the Colts ended up winning 30-13 over the Steelers. At one point, I believe during the third quarter, the Colts were in complete control of the game and decided to run the ball down the Steelers' throats. The Colts ran the ball 21 of 22 times in a row. What does TJ Watt do? Play the run and try to get the Colts to punt? No. He rushes the passer as if the Colts were down multiple scores late in the fourth. The Colts were playing like they had Jerome Bettis from the 2004 and 2005 seasons late in games. Don't worry, Watt was out there trying to get individual stats so he could beat out Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year. Back in the 2021 season, Watt's sack-tying season, Watt would get a sack on first or second down, only for the defense to give up first down on third and long. With Watt nowhere to be found, along with not playing the run, Watt takes defensive plays off and series off a lot of times on key drives. Now here's what I don't get. The defense is sitting when the offense is on the field. The defense is sitting during special teams play. The defense is sitting during TV timeouts, team timeouts, injuries, end of the quarter, end of the half, etc. You get the point. Why would any player ever need to sit? I never see offensive linemen sitting. Watt low manages all of that, and then on run plays he doesn't even try for the most part. Can someone tell me why, after all that, Watt needs a breather? Hell, the average play takes 7 seconds, and he has a half a minute or two in between the next play. Watt literally plays for a few minutes each game, and that's spread out over 3 hours. I hear all the time that TJ Watt is an edge rusher. He is not an edge rusher. He is an outside linebacker. His job, along with the other 10 guys, is to stop the other team, whether that makes a tackle, knockdown pass, take on 2 opponents to free up for others. I also hear advanced garbage analytics claim Watt is double-teamed all the time, and that's simply false. I remember a game last season, October 22nd, 2023. The Steelers defeated the Los Angeles Rams 24-17. The Rams, right tackle Rob Havenstein, manhandled Watt single-handedly all game. The Rams used their tight end Tyler Higbee to handle Watt on run plays all game long. There were even run plays where 212-pound Puka Nacua manhandled Watt. Same thing with 207-pound Cooper Kupp. Watt cult members tell me all the time about the Steelers' record with and without Watt. Here's the Steelers' playoff record since Watt's arrival. The Steelers are 0-4 with Watt in the playoffs. In 2017, they gave up 45 to Jacksonville. In 2020, the Steelers team gave up 48 to the Browns. In 2021, the Steelers team gave up 42 to Kansas City. In 2023, the Steelers team gave up 31 to the Bills, and that was without Watt. That is 2 touchdowns less than with Watt. In the 3 playoff games Watt has played, he has 0 interceptions, 0 forced fumbles, and only 1 sack. Watt blew off longtime teammate Cam Hayward, who was accepting the Walter Payton Man of the Year award, because Watt was pouting about not winning Defensive Player of the Year award. After losing to Myles Garrett, Watt had the following to say: "I'm not about the individual goals anymore. I've set myself up nice where I've been having a good career, but it doesn't matter if you're not winning games when they matter most. I think that's the objective number 1 for sure." Let me ask a question. Why did it take Watt 7 years to understand football as a team game? You tell me. Give me your thoughts in the comments section. And please do me a favor. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this with friends and family. And as always, the Babe of the Week contestant, Mila Kunis, the star of Bad Moms featuring JJ Watt. Thank you for joining me today. Look out for my next video on Caitlin Clark, Superstar or Super Fraud. You can catch that Sunday morning at 10 a.m.